my name is Haley Thompson, and for my final video essay, I will be incorporating what I have learned in Professor Hatton's class to answer, how does an adolescent learn ethics through literature? As a child, one begins like a blank sheet of paper, no knowledge or understanding of the world. It is the narratives, stories, and nature of the world around them that begin the journey of their life. Literature plays into a child's development due to how in stories, social practices are present and ethics and aesthetics are introduced. A child is able to understand the concept of what morals are and how some things are either good or bad. It is human nature to socially understand emotions and how our actions can impact them, but literature introduces us to the complexity of it. A child is able to see how humans interact, just like they have seen in movies or read in books, and are able to distinguish a person that they enjoy versus a person that they do not enjoy. In literature, people who have incorrect morals and often selfish nature are shown, and a child is able to understand that not everyone is what is called a good person. As a child grows, literary criticism grows inside them without realizing it. Literature is like a test. As we grow and read, we will see what bothers us in books, and it helps one's ethics to develop. If one does not challenge their beliefs, then they will never grow. As a child, it is vital that they get challenged in what they know, so they'll be able to learn and grow from it. Culture is also introduced in literature, and how different ethics vary in where you live. As a child, cultural shock can occur, and they start to realize that there are different areas in the world and everyone is the same, yet somehow different. Linguistics are introduced, and a child learns that not everyone speaks the same language as them, and diversity exists. Culture exists within different areas in the world, and their philosophies change. One may be able to turn to Saussure to understand just how important linguistics are in development. Through literature, a child is introduced to the cultural elite and how immoral racism is. An adolescent can read on the mistreatment of different minorities and ethically can see the immorality behind the oppression. An adolescent is able to understand what is forms of criticism through becoming aware of what is bothering them in a book and see what capitalist values are. A child is able to see that a society runs through capitalism and how they are a part of it in some sort of way. Ethically, they sense an obligation to buy and be a part of this society. They learn that they want more than they have, and whether they should be opposed to the system or for it. Another area in which a child uses literature to learn ethics is fiction. This introduces the idea of another world, something a child has never considered possible. It brings up a plethora of what-ifs. The dystopian narratives, romance novels, comedic stories, etc., are all shaped in a book made for children, and their worldviews expand even more. These children learn that there can be people not of this world that go through similar or different experiences than them, and how these characters faces their challenges, and then children are able to learn from what these characters do. These children learn complexity and pleasure and imagination through these narratives. They begin to think of their own theories in the fiction they read, and Color and Faluga both mention in great detail how theory is important in literature and reading literature. A child is able to be introduced to logic and ethics through literature. In literature, the choices characters make can be used with logic. This introduces the adolescent to what logical reasoning is, and what differentiates foolishness with logic. Ethics are involved due to how ethically humans use logic to make rational decision-making. An adolescent is able to recognize theme and grammar within literature and apply it in their linguistics. A constant theme is often occurring in a form of literature, and a child is able to pick up on it. They also learn intricate ways of writing and what grammar is. The child will learn that they need to learn the themes and nature of what is grammar to be able to be a functioning being. A child is able to learn meaning and form through literature and learn that it applies to ethics. Meaning and form is discovered when a child learns words they do not understand. Reading a book or literature requires a sense of meaning and form. What does all of this mean? The linguistics and nature of what is the form of the word and the context behind it. The child then learns that ethically and morally, one should be able to understand what is meaning. An adolescent is able to understand the ethics of tension and how it can further literature and be used as a tool. They learn how emotions can be expressed through reading literature and how different relationships and events can cause a feeling of tension. This relates to ethics due to how, in a child's social interactions, they are able to learn tensions and how certain tensions can be either good or bad, and how ethically it is important to understand it and learn how to react to what is tension. An adolescent is able to learn ethics and aesthetics through literature. A child is able to recognize art elements and see how different authors express and depict emotions in an artistic manner. Ethically, a child can use this form of expression and artistic elements and use it in their form of expression and learn that they can be artistic in their forms of expression and learn who they are and be excited to express it or express it in different ways that they see it throughout literature that they read. A child can understand poetry through literature and learn the ethics of it. A child consuming poetry is able to understand the emotional impact poetry can inflict upon a reader and the different forms of writing it has compared to a narrative, a story that is written in a form of a book or novella or novel. And they can understand that even in such a short form of expression that it can cause so much emotional impact. And how the ethics involved is how a child can take the expression of poetry and use it in their own self-expression. An adolescent is able to recognize rhyme and rhythm in literature and how it relates to ethics. The rhyme and rhythm is something a child is able to easily understand and apply in their lives, and ethics due to how repetition is introduced, and there is repetition in how life works. A child is able to view organization from literature and apply it to learning ethics. In literature, there are different formats in writing. They are able to recognize a certain theme of events that are organized in a peculiar yet similar way. A child can use organization in their life, and ethics, due to how they can learn that it's a form of organization, is a positive thing, and use organization in any way, in anything they do, because it is a good and constant working format. A child is able to understand intelligibility through literature and how it applies to ethics. This is due to how, when reading, some characters may be what is called smarter than the others or more complex beings. The introduction of education and learning is introduced, and how intelligibility is important in one's being. Ethically, a child learns the appeal to intelligence and learns that they too want to be intelligent beings. An adolescent is able to learn what a society is and their role in it due to how literature and how it relates to ethics. In literature, different forms of society are introduced in either fictional forms such as a dystopian society or a non-fiction society and apply it to their life. A child is able to learn the ethics in a society and how everyone has a role and a sense of respect and responsibility within a society. An adolescent is able to understand the law through literature and how it relates to ethics and morals. When reading, a child is able to realize that there are restrictions on what a character in a society can do. There, they learn about what is law and how the rules that are enforced are involved in how a child is able to understand that they are ethically responsible for following the law and that breaking it results in a punishment. In conclusion, One may be able to answer how an adolescent learns ethics through literature within a variety of concepts. This form of learning ethics is a very long journey throughout reading literature and picking up on these themes. And overall, when learning literature, a child is able to develop and become what is a human being. Being in Professor Hatton's class has brought me back to what is an adolescence and almost like a blank sheet of paper, to rethink what I know and that maybe what I've been taught is not so. What is basically a paradox in a sense that what I've been told could be something completely different, and that literature and theories can be used to question what is known and how literature can be what I believe is literature. And I feel as though I am an adolescent in a class full of thriving theorists who question what is known. Thank you for listening to my video essay on what I've learned in Professor Hatton's class and how an adolescent learns ethics through literature using concepts learned in Professor Hatton's course. Thank you, and hope you guys have a good day.